Hi Booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am joined today by my husband Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse.
Howdy.
And Jason still hasn't done the I'm so annoyed Booktube tag. Now I have a playlist, which I'll try to figure out a way to link to that down below, of all the people that I am aware of who have done the I'm so annoyed tag. I have not watched all of them, but almost all of them. So it'll be interesting to see how Jason's answers compare to many of the rest of you. So, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Fire away. Ask me the question.
All right. So question number 1, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example.
Okay. Yes. So I recently watched twice all the way through The Three-Body Problem on Netflix, and I said, man, I really want to read the book. So on Independent Bookstore Day, they didn't have what I was looking for, but I found this, right? So I found The Three-Body Problem. And so here's one thing I hate that publishers do. So, see, this is not a sticker, okay? That like soon to be on Netflix, whatever it is, that is not a sticker. That is part of the book. And, yeah, that's irritating for a lot of reasons. One, because that has everything to do with pop culture and nothing to do with how good the book is.
And will it always be on Netflix?
Yeah, will Netflix always exist, right? If Netflix isn't around anymore, right, like Orion Pictures from the 1980s, 20 years from now, Netflix isn't around, somebody's going to find this in a used bookstore and be like, what the hell is Netflix? So that's, sorry. Kelly informed me, no cursing, so not even HE double hockey sticks. This annoys me as well, although less so, right? Winner of the Hugo Award. But it's kind of irritating here because it looks like another like celestial body.
Moon, yeah.
So, yeah, so that annoys me as well, right? Because there's no reason not to have that just be an actual sticker, which is what we have here. So back in the day, when a book won the National Book Award, even when it was just a finalist, it had a silver sticker on it. Mm-hmm. But it had an actual sticker. So if I want, I can remove this from this copy of Sabbath Theater by Philip Roth. But I don't want to remove it because it's embossed and it's kind of cool. It feels like a medal. Or it's like the book won a medal. So Kelly and I both used to work for Barnes & Noble. And I think what they used to do is all the bookstores had like all these Sabbath Theater copies, and it won the National Book Award. So the National Book or the publisher, whoever, would send all the bookstores just a roll of these stickers to put on the appropriate books. And but I like that I can remove it if I want. I like that it feels like it's more it's celebrating the book more than just a little thing that's part of the cover. It's something that's been deliberately placed on there. So, anyway,
okay.
This I don't mind so much, but it's not done anymore.
Okay. Question 2: have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone telling you there's a great twist?
Yes, before I read Blood Meridian, there was an edition of it that, I don't know if I checked it out from the library or whatever, but it had an introduction. Oh. Introduction, as in read this before you read the book. We're going to prime you, by Harold Bloom. And on the first or second page of the introduction, he tells you what literally happens in the last 2 or 3 pages of the book. Like the ending of the novel. And so I went years then without reading Blood Meridian just to try to forget it as much as I could, or to have it feel less important to me. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing when I read, before I read Wuthering Heights, there was, they gave away
classics.
the ending of it. And I get it's been out forever.
Right, like, so we all must know.
But I didn't know at that time. I hadn't even seen the Laurence Olivier version of the film, so I held off on reading that as well. Now, as far as spoilers, yeah, I'm real sensitive to spoilers, man. I try not to give them, or if I give them, I let people know ahead of time that I'm giving them. And this is true of films as well on Letterboxd. If I see a review by someone else on Letterboxd that gives away spoilers, I flag it so that Letterboxd can let them know you need to hide this review because it contains spoilers. But yeah, there's one book which shall remain nameless. The reading of which is one of the great reading experiences of my entire life, and the greatness of that reading experience is largely contingent on the shock of something that happens in the book. And I've seen, since reading that book years and years ago, I've seen so many reviews of it on Booktube, on Goodreads, that reveal that thing. Or they're like, oh my God, there's this thing that's so shocking. It's such a surprise. And once, even if you don't say what the thing is, if you just say, oh my God, there's a twist that you're never going to see coming. Well, now I'm going to see it coming because you told me to expect a twist. So, yeah, that is just, you don't reveal spoilers, you don't reveal twists, you don't even alert people to the fact that something like that is there. Because if you want them to experience the thrill of the jolt of the thing,
Right.
like you did, they need to know. They need not to know that it's coming.
They need to know nothing. Yeah.
Just like you didn't know what was coming. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, please take note of that when you're talking about books, whether it's here or. Okay, sorry. All right, sorry. So that's all I have to say on that question.
All right. Question 3. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, at a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why you found it so annoying.
I can't think of anything.
You can't think of anything?
Mm-mm.
There have been some very shocking answers to this question. People finding a lot of trash in little free libraries. I think someone found, like, a dirty diaper.
Oh, yeah, that's lovely. I mean, I can think of other things
Right,
that have
right.
nothing to do with... I mean, I went to a laundromat once in college, and there was a used Band-Aid in a washing machine. And I have a phobia of used Band-Aids. So, yeah.
Right, okay.
I probably never went to that laundromat again.
All right. So, anyway. Okay. We'll move on. Question 4. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection?
I can't think of a short story collection I've read where that was true. They appear sometimes at the very end or at the very beginning, and I think that's fine. I probably would be annoyed if there was one in the middle.
Last year, I read a collection of short stories by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, who wrote Carmilla, and that is in the middle of the book.
And it's a novella.
I would say it's, yes.
Okay.
Like there was at least one in the middle that was like over 100 pages.
Oh yeah, that would annoy me, but I've never encountered it. So
Okay. All right. Let's see. Number 5, deckled edges, beautiful or annoying, which I never knew until this tag that some people found deckled edges so annoying.
okay, so here's deckled edges here. It's a copy of Ronan Bennett's Havoc in its third year. I love deckled edges.
I do too.
So one reason I love
Team deckled edges
is because oftentimes, like for instance, in our copy of Kristen Lavren's Daughter, or this book, right, which is set, what years is set in? Early 17th century. The deckled edges somehow feel of the time and place. Mm-hmm. You know, like I would love a copy of Wolf Hall with deckled edges. Right? I don't have one, but I would love one. That would be cool. And here's the thing: for the people who don't like deckled edges and say, "Oh, it makes the pages hard to turn." I'm gonna demonstrate something.
You're gonna demonstrate, okay?
Can turn the page from the top. The top.
But I think the thing is that
It's
some
not deckled.
people like to turn the page.
Like you just did from the top.
No, but like some people they want to turn the page from the side, and it's more difficult to do. Like try just. I know. I mean, you and I turn the page from the top, but
well, you can turn it from the bottom. You can lick your finger and do that whole thing. There's a lot of things that can be done.
Okay.
So yes,
Anyway,
they're beautiful.
we're
Deckled edges
both
are great.
we were both on Team Deckled Edges, as are many of you. But many of you find it annoying. Okay, question 6: Other people's annotations in a used book or a library book annoying, or are you okay with it?
Yeah, it's annoying. I don't even annotate my own books. I don't want to see somebody else's thoughts in a used book or a library book. I mean,
And we try not to buy any used books that are
yeah.
annotated.
If I buy a used book that turns out to have annotations in it that I missed, I will get rid of that book as soon as I can. If I pay $10 for it, it's going into a little free library. That's all there is to it. Yeah, same thing with highlighting. I mean, I highlighted a lot when I was in college and in grad school, but either those books are going to other students, or they're staying in our collection, right? So, but I don't want to see what someone else thought was important. It's hard enough for me when I mark something with a sticky tab, and I go back to talk about it 10 days later or whatever.
Why did I mark
I don't
this?
even understand why I marked this, so I don't want to see what other people thought was important.
And a lot of people do. A lot of people do want to. They enjoy the experience of someone else's notes, but we're just not those people. Question 7: If there's a series or a collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or are you okay with it? If yes, give us an example.
All right.
I knew
give
that
two
this
examples
was coming.
here.
I knew these were.
I'm going to give 2 examples here. So, Henny Mankel's series of Wallander novels. Okay, there are 10 novels in the series. Plus, there's a short story collection and there's a novella. The first in the series is Faceless Killers. Okay, here's what it looks like on the spine. The design thing. Ooh, we have the white rectangle, and we have the the white. It's right there. And then here's the 9th book in that series, Before the Frost. So 1 through 9. Okay, have this design. So when they're on the shelf next to each other, oh, look at that. They all like different color. Like, it's just really cool. It's eye-catching, right? So the first 9 books in the series of 10. And then the 10th book came out, The Troubled Man. And so now,
The 10th book looks totally different.
so that's not enough to put me off the series and make me not finish it. However, there is an example of that. And the example of that, there's this tremendously good science fiction novel called Dark Eden by Chris Beckett. One of the best reading experiences I think I've ever had. I love this novel. And I love the cover. See that? See how it's kind of hologrammy? Well, maybe you can't see if that's the actual light. Whoa. Anyway, it's beautiful. I love this cover so much. And it's the first book in a trilogy. Okay, these were published by Broadway Books. And the second book was released, and it was called Mother of Eden. Read it, loved it.
And it looked the same.
So I'm going to put up right here, okay, there it is, a little thumbnail or what have you of Mother of Eden. So you can see how the 2 books, how the design of them chime with each other. And then, dun dun dun, the 3rd novel was being published, Daughter of Eden. For some reason, it was no longer, his books were no longer being printed or published by Broadway Books. So Broadway Books was not the publisher of Daughter of Eden in America. And the cover of Daughter of Eden, which I will put here, there you go, there it is, dun dun, looks nothing like the first 2. And it irritated me so much. The covers of the first 2 books did such a good job of kind of just putting you in the right mood for the novel and suggesting the world of the novel, that when that 3rd cover came around, it's been years since it was published, years, and I still have not read it. And I haven't even bought the 2nd book. I haven't bought Mother of Eden
Well,
Even though,
why? Because
well, yeah, because that would mean that I would have to buy the third one, and I don't want the third one. So, yeah, I wanted to at least have the first one, and I can pretend that it's a standalone book. Um, and then if I want to read Mother of Eden again, I can just check it out from the library, and eventually I will read Daughter of Eden because I want to know how the story wraps up, how it finishes, but I don't know when that's going to be. But I mean, it's been a long time. I read this before we lived in this house. So this was like 7 years ago I read this book. And yeah, still have not finished the trilogy, even though I love the first two books. Love them.
well, and I would maybe get it because don't you think? I think with this one, right? So the last cover is different because they want you to buy the 9 books. They probably had reprinted all the other books in the series, right?
Not in styles like that.
But not in styles like this?
No, they're still published with these little rectangles on.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes publishers think like, oh, it's the last book, so we're gonna change the cover and we're gonna reprint the books that came before it, so you have to buy them all again.
Yeah, that's done a lot with DVDs. You know? It's like, oh, we know you bought the first release of this and the special edition release that came out 2 years later.
And the 20th anniversary.
Here's the anniversary edition with one more special feature that you're going to find really interesting and you're going to need to own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happens a lot with DVDs.
With movies, yeah. Okay.
But anyway.
Do the decisions of of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying.
They probably do, but I couldn't think of anything.
It's okay.
So, yeah, I can't think of anything. Can't even really think of anything in a movie. And I'm sure there's tons of stuff that characters do.
Yeah.
Well, there's in movies. I mean, there's like I feel like there's a subgenre of movies where children do stupid things that end up imperiling all of civilization. And there's 2 large birds at the bird feeder, and our cat is going crazy. Blue's going nuts.
He's a hunter.
But yeah, so that always bothers me when cats do something when children in movies do something incredibly self-evidently stupid that then puts themselves at risk and ends up costing the lives of their parents and blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean this happened in what was it 28 weeks later, the sequel to 28 days later. 28 weeks later, yeah, there's a couple of really dumb kids in that basically re-end civilization.
Okay.
So,
Question 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying?
yeah, no offense to these people. I don't know anybody who does this, I don't think. But people who organize their books by the color of the spines, right? Like this is all my yellows together, all my oranges together. I've just never understood that. Partly because there's no way for you to know what's in the section necessarily. Not down to a book anyway.
I know some people have said like they have really small physical TBRs, so they don't own very many books, so they can do that. I just don't think like when I look at our bookshelves and I look at the colors of the spines, like I mean we don't have. There's like a lot of black. There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of. I don't know. I just can't imagine.
Maybe it's a bigger thing with YA books. I don't know.
Yeah, brightly colored spines. I'm not sure. I did. Somebody else said in their tag video that they went to their local thrift store and someone had organized all the books by color. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, can you imagine trying to find anything?
So I will say. To this point, that it is. I think it's very, very important to organize, particularly if you have people over, or parties, or whatever in your house, to organize your books, or your CDs, or your movies, or what have you, alphabetically. Come on, bud. And the reason is that you can then easily see if something is missing. So when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, come on.
Come here.
Come on.
Just one chance to be on the table.
There we go.
There we go. Blue
When I was a
Cheeto.
teenager, I had a pretty significant cassette tape collection, and but I didn't have them organized like in a cabinet or anything like that, or alphabetized, and they were just kind of just laying all around my room, right? And I would find the one I wanted to listen to, and I'd listen to it. Well, so I had a guy that I was friends with at the time. This didn't last that long. And he'd come over to my house and hang out. And he was stealing my albums. He was stealing my cassettes without me knowing it.
Your cassette.
Yeah, without me knowing it because they weren't in any kind of order.
Sold.
So I didn't see that something was missing until, I mean, I don't know how many visits that he'd been over went by. But yeah, one day I went looking for like my Company of Wolves cassette or whatever. And I couldn't find it. I was like, where is it? And it just wasn't there. And then I realized that this other tape wasn't there. And this other tape wasn't there. And I don't know how many cassettes of mine he stole over that period of time, but it was probably 20, 25.
So you think people are stealing out of people's books?
Well, I'm just saying, this would guard against that. Right? Like, this would guard against that.
If
If
it
they're in
was
alphabetical order and there's
organized,
something missing, you know precisely
right
what's
away.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
So
All right.
organize your books.
Last question. Share something bookish you find annoying.
Bookish that I find annoying. I can't think of anything that I haven't already talked
That you
about.
haven't already talked about?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I can talk about plenty of other things in the world that I find annoying. If you'd like me to go down that
No,
rabbit
you're
hole.
really not supposed to lay down on the table.
But no, I can't
I would
really
never
think
have
of
let
anything
him
else.
get on the table if we weren't filming this video. All right, is there anyone you want to tag?
There's nobody I'd like to.
Okay,
Tag.
and I'm like still kind of astonished at the 120 some people who have done this tag. But if you're watching and you haven't done this tag, please feel free to do so and just tag me in your notes so that I can find it and add it to the playlist. And if you do not have a channel, but you think of something that really annoys you that's book related, please let me know down in the comments section. As always, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji, maybe a kitty, if you've made it this far in the video, or you can give this video a thumbs up, which does really help. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on my channel and answering these questions.
It is my pleasure.
Yeah, I had to do some arm wrestling, but anyway, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right, Booktube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye. Blue.